Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show, Crypto Express. In today's video, we're going to go over what is going on in the market, both a recap of what's been happening and a projection of what's to come this week, because it is a pretty big week in terms of financial data being disclosed, big announcements, and it's going to affect the market. So that said, let us review what has been going on. But as you would know, Bitcoin has not been moving very much. And some people are seeing this as, oh, Bitcoin's dead. Oh, it's never going to rally. What's going on? Now, keep in mind, the people that say this are people that are new or people that are profiting from our fear. Okay, that's where these two main opinions or opinion houses stand from, like where their positions, okay? But just quickly, a recap on what's been going on. We know that last week it was in the news. It was Biden against Trump. I believe even RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr. was also giving a stance on crypto. He would be my first pick president. However, he's not the primary contender. He's now independent. So we know that the system is pretty much already set up. I don't want to say rigged, but it's already set up to either support a Democrat, a Democratic president or a Republican. So that said, yeah, Trump would be my next vote, my next bet over Biden. That said, okay, so we know if we look at the screen, if you're not looking at the screen, I'm just going to read through key bullet points of what's been going on in the market recently. So we know that Trump has been all in the news. He has several meme coins, NFTs, and he is now saying that he will be very crypto friendly economically in his policy if he were to be elected president. So we know Trump has been endorsing crypto. We know that European regulators are looking at approving Bitcoin as an asset that can be included in their UCITs. Stands for like European something, their financial regulating body. We know that BlackRock has been shilling. I don't want to say shilling because it's a strong word, but has been offering Bitcoin or has been promoting Bitcoin to their pension funds. We know that Morgan Stanley is about to get Bitcoin exposure for its funds, and that Europe's largest bank, BNP Paribas, bought a Bitcoin ETF. We know that Argentina is about to mine Bitcoin. South Korea and Australia are about to approve their own Bitcoin ETFs. So there's a lot of momentum and telling signs that the market at large is about to turn bullish or green, and that definitely the crypto market is going to be rallying soon, just based off of this information, because we know that as all economies or as money printing happens, quantitative easing, it has a direct impact on the crypto space and Bitcoin. Okay, so key events that are going to happen this week. We're going to look at a slightly, big picture, and then we're going to zoom in more detail. So events that are going to happen this week that are going to affect the market are the PPI, or it's the Producer Price Index inflation data, is going to be presented, and that just creates an effect. Right? If they present bad news, then it creates fear. If they present data that looks appealing and promising, then that's going to affect everyone's emotion and their purchasing activity in a positive way, right? So everything, you have to see it that way. Next, we have the chair of the Fed, Jerome Powell, speaks on Tuesday. So let's see what he has to say about rate cuts. Yes or no? We have the CPI inflation data on Wednesday. April, they're releasing retail sales data. Both on Wednesday. Then Thursday, we have the Philadelphia Fed manufacturing data. So a total of 12 Fed speaker events this week. So we can just imagine that it's going to have a big impact on the market. I would be very, very surprised if the market stayed still after all of this news. So much as we saw in the previous tweet, if you're not looking at the screen, we're now looking at a tweet by investing.com. And same thing, it runs through much of the same information, except it also announces that New York's Federal Manufacturing Index will be also announced on Wednesday. The jobless claims data will be released on Thursday. And then we have Philadelphia's Federal Manufacturing Index Thursday, the building permits, housing, and then housing starts on Thursday, as well as does industrial production. So all in all, this whole week is going to be jam-packed with announcements that should have an impact on the market. So moving on, we're going to zoom in a little bit on a concerning fact. I don't want this to be like a doom and gloom. I don't want to sway your opinions so much. Okay, so I'm mindful in the way that I inform you of what's going on, because I'm not trying to convince you of anything unless I believe it's truly wrong or something is truly right. But that said, what we're looking at now is, you know, as the tweet says, it says, read the meme. So what's going on in the meme? Let's scroll up. So here's how the government fakes the CPI, or Consumer Price Index, inflation data. Just remove stuff that increases the price. So coffee. So that's what this whole tweet is about. It says that as of April 30th, so like 2 weeks ago, coffee was removed off of this list. Why? Because coffee has increased 78% since September 2023. So all of these small changes, and who knows what else they've altered on their list, right? Like this is one that caught our attention because we're coffee lovers, and because we know that Starbucks, we were looking at Starbucks's reportings, was it a few days ago? Or it's been in the news anyway. And Starbucks stock price has been going down. And so this is how it caught our attention, and this is how, you know, like why we're reading it now. But you can only imagine what else have they, you know, this begs the question as to what else have they removed off of their list to modify their numbers. So you see, that's what it says. All of these small changes are designed to reduce the official reported rate of inflation, so you don't know how bad it is. Why does the government do this? Political and budget reasons. High inflation is bad for Biden. Also, Social Security cost of living adjustments will be lower, reducing what the government will pay seniors. So that's what this whole tweet is about, is really pointing out, as you read in the tweet, the meme, there's a lot of manipulation going on a government reporting level. I don't think any of this is so shocking to any of us. I think we're all aware to a great extent that the government does this, which is sad, you know, because you should want to trust your leaders and your leadership. Your government should provide a sense of safety and security to you, to the population. And when numbers are starting to be altered for their sake, for, you know, their hidden agendas, like potentially getting Biden reelected because we know his term is ending and he's running for presidency again. We know that he would be interested in having rates and data published that's favorable to the end of his presidency. So he can stand there and say, look, during my presidency, you know, interest rates went down, inflation went down, you know, the data looked great. And so you just have to kind of think through it, but it definitely appears to be like that is what is going on. So all of that to say, and I'm just backing up a few tabs here for those that can't see my screen, but as we just read a few moments ago, you know, with all these upcoming announcements this week, we can expect there to be some manipulation in the data reported. So what that really makes us understand is that whatever is announced they've already calculated through the reaction they're expecting from the market for the desired market effects, if that made sense. So just keep in mind that whatever happens this week was designed to happen this way, in a way that would get you to react in the way they need it to react. They need us, and they need the market to react. So yeah. And then another piece of news that unfortunately didn't make it into headlines, but thankfully Mike Alfred is reporting it to us in crypto Twitter, is basically that the US ended up bailing out Japan. If you were watching my videos from a few days ago, you would know that Japan's yen was like dying dramatically. And this was concerning because if they continued to drown in inflation, then they were going to be forced to sell their US bonds, which was then going to affect the US market stock price, the US dollar's value, and that was going to be bad. So apparently, as we're reading here, the US ended up bailing out Japan to save the Treasury market. And no one's talking about it, but it's a very, very big deal. So as Mike is, as he closes his statement, he's saying, so hold on to your Bitcoin, hold on to your gold and your other assets, because inflation is just rising, So very concerning, very, very concerning. As I published in like 2 videos ago, times are changing, and as part of this transition, you can imagine like 2 tectonic plates that are shifting. What happens as it happens is there's earthquakes, and sometimes there's, a splitting, and, what you would call like a canyon. And, sometimes people get swallowed in between. And so in many ways, that is what could happen, metaphorically speaking, to everyone that doesn't hang on, doesn't have some gold, some Bitcoin, some way of anchoring themselves financially, whatever that looks like, because it's going to be messy. It's going to be messy before it gets better. But that said, it's not all doom and gloom. We know that Bitcoin has been rallying on an international level. It's really quite beautiful. And we know here, as we can see on the screen, this is a list of all the major banks that have invested in crypto already. So if you want to take a screenshot of this and show it to your friends, your family, whoever is telling you crypto's dead, it's not a thing, what are you talking about, you're crazy, show them this. We have ING Bank, UBS, BBVA, MUFG Bank, Nomura, Citibank, Barclays, BlackRock, JP Morgan, BNY Mellon, BNP Paribas, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Charles Schwab, and Standard Chartered. These are all the banks that are already making the transition into crypto, into digital assets. And this is exciting because they represent, millions and millions of people and all of their customers that are, indirectly, involuntarily going to be making the transition or being exposed to digital assets. So, it is a scary time. It's like a volatile time. And there's many different stories and narratives going on, so you don't know who to believe. But I can tell you that facts don't lie. And if you just look at the list that I'm showing you on the screen, these are the these are the banks that have already bought into crypto. So the facts speak for themselves. That said, we have some more exciting news. We have Rothschild's firm disclosing their Bitcoin ETF, their spot, okay, Bitcoin ETF purchase of roughly $20 million in Q1. So you see, it's happening on a global level and it can't be stopped. And then shifting gears a little bit, we know that the two primary cryptocurrencies that the world is aware of and that have like global dominance are Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And if you're new to crypto, then you would know, or maybe you wouldn't know that Bitcoin is like the digital gold, and Ethereum is like your iOS or your Android system or network where all these apps are built on, right? Like an app store. So Ethereum in many ways is like this. And now there are applications for different institutions to be able to sell Ethereum ETFs to their customer base. So what we're reading here is that there are 12 days before we hit the final deadline for these 3 spot ETF applications. So we have 3 of them currently open. So very exciting news. Very, very, very exciting news. So yeah, let's wait to see what happens. But that's also in 2 weeks. So if we just like zoom out to everything that we've been covering in this video so far, we have an enormous list of banks that have already bought into crypto. We have all this news coming up this week of data being reported that's going to affect the market. It's going to affect people's, willingness to go buy, to come back into the crypto market, to invest in meme coins, to buy more Bitcoin. So there's a lot in the air, to put it that way. There's a lot hanging in the air, and we're just waiting to see how the pieces fall. But in the meantime, we're going to look at a chart in a minute that shows us how we should be, how smart money, right? Smart investors that have been around for a while, how we should, according to them and their experience, and charts that they have put together to indicate to us the different psychological cycles that the market goes through in regards to crypto, and what we should do in each of these phases. So first off, before we get to that chart, let's just take a look at this chart that I'm looking at. And it basically indicates how global money supply is not only recovering, but turning positive again in all major economies. And if you can't see my screen, we're looking at a chart of China, Japan, the US, Canada, and Europe. And basically, all in their own way, all in their own choppy way, they're going up overall. So what we can expect is that this is going to trigger the next big rally in the cryptocurrencies market sooner than later. Definitely sooner than most would expect. So this basically translates into more people buying crypto, right? Or the potential of it, especially as it's being announced, right, that the US dollar has lost 25% of its purchasing power. Seriously, and like with wars going on and like this whole BRICS nation alliance that is now growing. I think before it was like 4 countries. I know Brazil was part of it and Saudi, but now there's more countries joining. There's basically just a huge shift. I made a whole video about this like 3 videos ago. It's a huge shift happening, and in the meantime, they're just continuing to do what they can do, which is print more money. And this video clip, I showed it a few days ago, but it really, thank you so much to whoever did this, to the video. They picked all the most important clips from President Bukele, El Salvador's president, explaining the way the government basically makes money and backs its money and justifies taxes. So let's listen to it now.
When I talk to my conservative friends right here, they always tell me that the problem is high taxes, but they're wrong. The real problem is not the high taxes themselves, but the fact that they are not even really funding the government. Not even those high taxes, higher than a lot of places in the world, not even those taxes are really funding the government. So who's financing the government? Government is financed by Treasury bonds, paper. And who buys the Treasury bonds? Mostly the Fed. And how does the Fed buy them? By printing money. But what backing does the Fed have for that money being printed? The Treasury bonds themselves. So basically, You finance the government by printing money out of thin air. Someone could ask, well, so if the government can print unlimited amounts of money out of thin air, why do they collect taxes? The answer is simple,
Right.
but it's very shocking. The real problem is that you pay high taxes only to uphold the illusion that you are funding the government, which you are not.
Wow.
When I talk to my conservative...
You see, scary times. So when they say they can't lower taxes, it really begs the question of why, since taxes don't fund the government anyway, right? So it just really all goes to show, and I hate to paint a picture, a conspiracy theory picture for you, to you, but it's really hard to see it any other way when you start to unpack what is really going on. And then this tweet, it's funny, okay, it's by Elon Musk, where he compares the US Federal Reserve to Monopoly. But it's not funny when you zoom in, as I will now for you on the screen, and it's just like a screenshot he took of a Monopoly board game, and it basically says, well, this is what he writes. He writes, this is how the Federal Reserve works. And if you zoom into the way Monopoly, the game, explains, what if the bank runs out of money? It says, some players think the bank is corrupt if it runs out of money. The bank never goes bankrupt. Sorry, let me back up. It says, some players think the bank is bankrupt or corrupt. Oh my God, that's what I said. They think the bank is bankrupt if it runs out of money, right? Because that would make sense. But the bank never goes bankrupt. To continue playing, use slips of paper to keep track of each player's banking transactions until the bank has enough paper money to operate again. The banker may also issue new money on slips of ordinary paper. Just perspective, and nothing could have done it better than this tweet, I think, in explaining that it's a game. It's a game. And that's why crypto is so amazing, because it's so timely and so important, because it's real. It's real, and no one can take it from you. Yeah, that's why Bitcoin is so, so important. And that said, taking a look at where we're at right now in the market, what's so, so interesting of this tweet is it basically, delineates, or it bullet points out every year since Bitcoin has pretty much existed. So 2011, 2012, 13, all the way up until current present day. And it explains in colors, right, how every year has been categorized. So 2011 was a green or bullish year. 2012, green. 2013, green. 2014, red. And then you'll go on to see, if you're looking at my screen, that it's basically 3 consecutive years of green, 1 year of red. 3 consecutive years of green or bullish market action, 1 of red. 3 green, 1 red. And currently we find ourselves in 2023 in the first, last year was a year that in general was categorized as a bullish year, which means if we just follow the pattern, this year should be green and next year should be a bullish green year as well. So just to give you, big picture perspective on where we're at. And then this is the chart I was referencing a moment ago. It looks like a rainbow, and it's called Bitcoin Rainbow Chart. And at the top of this chart, in all the different colors, you have different sentiments assigned to each color. So I would have flipped these colors around if it were me. I would have started with purple, which is when everyone thinks Bitcoin is dead. Blue, it's basically a fire sale. Then it goes up to like this aqua color, which is like buy now. Then it goes into green, accumulate, then baby green, it's still cheap. Yellow, hodl, or like hold on to your investments. Then it goes up to an orange color where people start to wonder, is this a bubble? Is it gonna pop? And then it goes into this like burnt orange color where it's like FOMO intensifies because everyone realizes like we're making so much money, like hurry up, you know, buy as much as you can. And then red is where it's like the greed index is so high that people start to like sell and start to tell each other to sell. And then red is where like the bubble pops. So if we look and follow this, you know, psychology and pattern, we would see that where we are now, we're currently in this like turquoise, kind of dusty turquoise color, which is the buy zone. And then from here, we go into the accumulate zone. Then we go into the next zone of where it's still cheap. And then we go into yellow, which is like, hold on. And as we go through these phases, you'll notice that the price keeps going up. So anyway, if we just zoom out, we would know we're still very early. We're very much so within the range, the projected range that we should be within to justify a bull run. So many indicators. We have mass adoption, global adoption, banks buying in, the government creating fear and panic in the market, as they do, which is sad because you think they'd want to make their people feel safe and secure so that it could improve market conditions, but unfortunately we don't see that happening. Then this is pretty awesome. So we're wrapping up, guys. After this, I'm going to share what's going on with the top altcoins in the market. But first, I thought this was very important to share because as you'll read on the screen, if you can see my screen, it says this is the only chart you need, right? And it basically, it's a picture of a mountain or a cliff if you can't see my screen. But it basically explains like the way the money moves in the market and how, you know, hey, let's just read it. Okay, so it says, the only TA or technical analysis you need as prices and net worth increase, risk increases as well, right? But also do people's confidence. Need to be max confident now, max bullish now, not after price convinces you, because price really is the best convincer. Must not believe its lies. You own the coins, but what if they pump and make you rich? The things you own end up owning you. You need to be amazing. I can't say that word. You need to simultaneously hold the most fearless, bullish conviction while also being terrified of the fact you could die at any moment. This is so true. I think I have stressed this multiple times throughout my videos in my own way, where you need to have an attitude in crypto of you're going all in, right? Eyes peeled open. You have your altcoins selected, the ones you're going to invest in according to the narratives or types of crypto coin, coins you're going to buy. Gaming, whether that's AI, whether it's meme coins, Bitcoin for sure, always, you know, and how much you're going to invest in each. And you need to have your strategy in place, and you need to have a sense of urgency. You have to have a sense of urgency. And you need to invest with like a long-term mindset for the blue chips, for like the real long-term investments. But at the same time, depending on your strategy, especially if you're trying to make as much money as possible, then you're going to invest in the degen tokens, right? And on the screen, those would be represented by the NFTs at the top. But all bubbles pop, as we saw in the previous screen. And so you need to be prepared to lose everything at the same time, at any time, which is why the main moral of the lesson is always pay yourself. Always pay yourself. Like as soon as something pumps a lot, you take out 10%, you know? And once we start getting really, really heated, like if we go look at this rainbow chart from a moment ago, once we're up, you know, like in this orange zone or red zone, like take a screenshot of this, then you need to be paying yourself more, frankly. Yeah. So you never have any regrets. But anyway, moving into what's going on in the market, in the top blue chip altcoins, we have TON, or Telegram's project, TON. that is back at $7, and there's rumors, okay, they're just rumors, of it being listed on Binance. So if it does, we can expect it's going to pump and then it's going to dump, but overall it's going to be a good pumpamental factor that it's going to make it go up in price. Go up in price, and it'll be a good thing. So that's the news on TON. Next, we have this Not coin. I mentioned it in 2 videos ago, I believe, or was it last week already? The Not coin. It's a community token which onboarded users into Web3 through a tap to earn mining mechanism. Anyway, it is announced to be the 54th project on Binance launch pool. So go check them out on Binance's launch pool. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then next, just an update on Peppik. I made a whole video on Peppik several videos ago. You can go check it out. But yesterday, and still now, you're still within the window of opportunity, but you need to go, if you staked your Peppik, you need to go unstake them. As you do, I did this last night, it'll automatically allow you to claim your based AI, because by staking your Peppik, you would have been earning, right, based AI, or like farming or mining it. And then you would need to restake it on its new mainnet. Is that right? It's a pre-bridge, sorry, for its mainnet. And when you restake it for its mainnet, you will start to earn double rewards, double the based AI tokens. So I did this last night. Here are all the steps. So take a screenshot if you are able to see my screen, but these are the steps. It's pretty simple. You basically just go connect your wallet, you go to the Peppik farming little icon on the screen, and then it'll just ask you right there to unstake it. You do, you follow the prompts, and then, yeah, and then you restake it. But on the new mainnet. So yeah, that's the news on Peppik. Very exciting. And yeah, this tweet basically just reemphasizes yeah, that you can be earning double the rewards now if you go do it. But that's it, guys, for today's video. So mainly I'm just here to tell you to hang on. We're still in consolidation period. We're in the pullback before the tsunami. It's still a good time to be looking at your portfolios, evaluating what you're investing in, getting your strategy in place. And if anything, just be encouraged and know that banks all over the world are still buying into crypto. And don't be shaken out this news. Don't be shaken out this week with the news of all this data that is about to be released this week from the Fed on all sorts of price and consumer indexes and interest rates. And just know that unfortunately they released this information to get a reaction out of you that then will play out how they pre-planned it to play out. So anyway, just stay steady, and I love you guys very much, and I will see you guys here tomorrow. Ciao.